Let's see. Let me ask you to unmute and see if that helps.
There we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Well, afternoon, morning where Jeffrey is. Thank you for being here at this Be the Spark movement meeting. It's September 2021, and we're going to talk about self-acceptance. So what does self-acceptance mean to each of you?
2024.
2024. Did I say 2021?
Yes, you're 3 years behind. It's okay. We all here.
I need some sleep. Can you tell? 2024. Here we are. I've arrived. Okay, so I accept myself for not knowing what year it is.
With that being said, can I just share a little of what I define as self-acceptance, and as we go on through this session, I will share some other stuff.
Absolutely.
Self-acceptance is an individual's satisfaction or happiness with oneself, and it thought to be necessary for good mental health. Self-acceptance involves self-understanding, a realistic awareness of one's strength and weakness. If you can build your self-criticism, and you can begin to face the challenges in life and succeed. In social psychology, self-acceptance is the process of looking at oneself in order to assess the aspects that are important to one's identity. Self-assessment and achievement behavior suggested that self-acceptance is a way in which self-esteem can be enhanced in the future. It is a reflective skill that helps to achieve self-acceptance. And okay, let me just put this up here because I want to make this larger. Okay. Well, okay.
That is a comprehensive definition. Very well. Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just make my thing bigger right here so that y'all can see me a little more clear. Oh, you're right. I took my picture down. Okay, I'm not that savvy, but I'm getting there. I got it. All right. And with that, I want to say that self-preservation prevents poor performance. And it took me quite some time to understand when I was lacking self-acceptance. And it wasn't until my guidance counselor had me to go read over a couple of things and answer some questions. And what I had discovered that I was lacking self-acceptance because I didn't want to, at that time, accept the criticism of myself.
Mm-hmm.
But as I began to do more studying about oneself and self-discovery, I've come to understand that I now, at this point, have self-acceptance, and it was a major part of being able to get to the next level of my healing journey. When I discovered that out of all the things, traumatic situations that had taken place in my life, and I wanted to heal, I wanted to look at one part and not the other. But I had to sit back, scrap in, and prepare myself for the ride of my life, because I had to look at that part that I didn't want to look at.
Yeah.
That was how that trauma had turned me into a degree of a abuser.
Mm.
I didn't want to look at that. I didn't want to believe that. I didn't want to accept that. I didn't want to hear that, but after really, really being open to wanting and having the desire to get to the next step of my healing process, I had to really work in that area. And it took me to the next level. It took me to the next level, and we those that are here has been here for, some time, through the groups with us. And it makes me feel very comfortable in sharing my weaknesses as well. And I'm going to let someone else go, and then throughout the day, I'll share some stuff that I discovered on self-acceptance.
Did you want to, I forgot the gentleman's name. Did you want to share? The guy, oh, he left. Self-acceptance for me, I wasn't going, like you said, you're not going to reach your full potential unless you do find self-acceptance. So for me, it was through writing that I found self-acceptance. I just I kept writing stuff down until I rediscovered my voice. And once I rediscovered my voice or was introduced to my voice, things took on another kind of life for me from that point on. So that was self-acceptance for me through writing. So.
I want to, well, wait, let me see. If no one else wants to go right now, and I want to share something, is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, self-acceptance. Before people start to consider how self-acceptance play a key role in the development of one's personal character, many have forgotten that building character through having a better comprehension of one's own self-esteem is indeed one of the most important aspects of personality development and spiritual development. And I was kind of on that particular assignment for some time because it was many avenues of my self-acceptance with low self-esteem. So I had to really look into the creative side of myself and do mental role plays with my reasoning to why my self-esteem was so low and there was lack in my self-acceptance. And after, I stayed on this topic for weeks because it was so deep and profound to the information that I was seeking to help my healing process. Is you and me and Carrie sitting here right now, but we all know a lot of things that we've discussed in these groups that in the beginning I wasn't as confident and assured of myself as I am today. So y'all seen
And
my
all the process. Yeah.
Yes, y'all seen the growth in my journey and doing the work of healing, and praying that through my experience and through the the information that I seek to share through my experience has helped someone on this line, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's just been a pleasure to get up here once a month, even when you think that you have covered a topic and don't want to go back into it, you know.
Right.
It's always work in revisiting things because it shows
Yeah.
if you still need work in the area or if you've really been working your tools in that area.
Well, and I think there's always a little more we could do, right?
Especially for
There's
oneself.
always levels. Yeah, there's always levels that we can deepen into or grow through, depending on which way you're doing. If you're working towards excavating, then you're digging deep, and if you're working towards ascension, then you're growing through it. And
You know, and through the spirituality of self-acceptance, that was a major informative, you know, because my goal for myself is healing, right?
mhm,
Because there was so many broken areas of my life that there could never be no elevation if healing didn't take place.
right,
Mhm.
right.
And
I think,
go ahead.
well, I think that the one thing that, um, my pivotal point in healing is accepting whatever the trauma was, right? Like instead of saying, I wish I had have, or I should have, or I could have, is saying, okay, this is what happened and I can't change it.
Mhm.
And
And
that's
that's
the
okay.
foundation for self-acceptance too. Is like, this is my life. This is who I am. This is where my journey has brought me. And it's up to me to love myself and accept myself for what I've been through and what I'm going through now. And then that's your foundation to healing.
That's good for people that has had some type of structure and
Mhm.
tools in place to be at that point in their life to say, okay, I accept where I am. But people that has not had the guidance to get into the root of what their trauma was, what they needed to do, the information itself. There was nobody, I didn't have a teacher in my early age. I didn't have get a teacher until I was actually grown and had been through some things to guide me the right direction to where I needed to start it.
Right, right.
We may have people that come in here that has no clue of how do I even begin to get self-acceptance, and I'm so broken, right?
Right.
But people that has that experience already, we can't just say to these people, you just have to begin to accept the flaws. You know, you get where I'm going. So for me, it was big because when my teacher, when my spiritual guide started showing me where to begin to do the work or how to put that pain to the side to find myself, my true identity, to really move in my purpose and walk in my birthright. You know, I didn't know these things because there, like I said, there was no teacher, no true guidance, you know, to say, okay,
And that's
you,
why we're here, right? To give other
yes,
people
But
a
I
little
think,
light.
oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jeffrey.
I was gonna say, but sometimes, um, um, Karen, you made me think about a certain point. I was telling somebody about just my life. They wanted to know what was going on and why I wrote and all of that stuff. And some of my, sometimes you don't have a teacher too. I don't think you always had a teacher. I think it was in you. But let me make this point before you come in. Because sometimes we don't have a teacher. And I was telling somebody about what I did just to get, when my kids were small, just to get up in the morning, get to work, um, uh, uh, get to my second job, get to my third job when I didn't have a car in the snow in New York. And I was thinking, and as I was telling them, I'm like, how did I do that? Seriously, I'm thinking at my point now, I'm like, I don't know if I could do that now. But at that time, I didn't think about how hard it was. I thought about it had to be done. And that was me, that was life, the journey, the universe preparing me to come to that realization of who I was. But I didn't have a teacher. I just kind of
But
struggled
it,
through it. And
and I,
sometimes we have it in us, and somebody will give them the title of the teacher, but really what they're doing is they're seeing us for who we are, and they just comment on it, and then you say, "Oh my God, I didn't see myself that way."
and
But
you're
sometimes we already have it
absolutely
in us.
right. You're
Mhm.
absolutely right, because everything is within inside of
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But sometimes, and when I say a teacher, I mean that person that sees a potential in you that you don't see in
Right,
yourself,
right.
and
Exactly.
guide you to
Right.
where to start tapping it into it.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah, you're
just
right.
make that because
Yep.
That
everything
was
is within inside of us. Your
Yeah,
lower self and your higher self,
yeah.
right?
So true.
And
Yep.
if you like a person like myself that is very intuitive
Mhm.
and eager to learn, and work on the areas where I didn't see the potential in myself.
Right.
right,
Um,
right.
gave me the motivation and encouragement that was needed.
Mhm.
You know, um, and I
Makes
used the
me
word like teacher, but it was that motivation
Mhm.
from me not seeing my higher self,
Right.
yeah,
stuck
Right.
in the aspect of the trauma.
Mhm.
So once my pineal gland
Mhm.
began to open up and realize that it was either me staying in the low vibrational portion of my life or elevating to the creative potentials that I possess,
Mhm.
with um just working on me,
Mhm.
what can I do today to accept that portion of my life is over?
Mhm.
yeah.
How can I move forward in stepping on stones that's higher?
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to share.
This reminds me of the story that Jeffrey tells about in the homeless shelter and how the older gentleman pulled you aside
Mhm.
and told you
Yeah.
you had potential.
Yeah, I
Go to
was
the
too smart to
library.
be there. Yeah. Nobody had
Yeah,
ever told me I was smart. That's the honest
yeah.
God truth. That's a true story. Nobody had ever, not my mom, not my stepfather, not my cousins, not my uncles and aunts, that stranger. And it's something went on. I don't know why he said it and why what he said affected me. It went on, and I'm telling you, you can't see around me. I'm around books all the time. I didn't read books at that time, but that guy
Yeah.
told me I was smart and told me to go to the library and see what other people had done with their lives and do something with mine. And I don't know why that clicked with me. I was 20 years old. I don't know why that, but it clicked, and it will stay with me until I am buried. I'm sure that guy is dead. He's probably like in the 70s back then. So, but
Yeah.
what he said
And
has
and
stayed with
a
me forever.
lot of that comes from the things that we was told about ourselves
Mm-hmm.
through other
Exactly.
broken people,
Exactly.
Right,
through other
right.
broken that seeing greatness in us but they were so broken, they wanted to keep you broken as well.
You're exactly right.
And
Yeah.
not knowing who you truly are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some
So,
people don't want you to outshine them, and they will do
Right.
whatever. Even if you're a little kid, they will do whatever is possible to make sure that you don't outshine them. Although
Ab-
with a loving family wants you to shine. But a
Right.
non-loving family doesn't love themselves. They don't want you to outshine them or seem like you're
and,
outshining
and then tell you things to keep yourself accepted, your self-esteem very low,
Yes, ma'am.
and keep you not feeling confident
Mhm.
that you know this is not me. I know I'm greater than this. I
Mhm.
know I can do better than this. You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
Yeah.
and it
Sometimes
doesn't-
sometimes I think we accept the stories that other people tell us.
Absolutely.
And when we come around or we have a stranger, I mean, my healing journey started with a stranger
Mm.
telling me that I had greater potential, she could see me writing books. She could see me
Mm.
being a public speaker. She could see me leading women's groups. And it's all the stuff I'm doing now.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
she put that little spark in me
Yeah.
to where I can be like, oh,
Mhm.
there is something greater in me. And that's a part of self-acceptance too, is to recognize that you do have something to give this world.
Exactly. And pat yourself on the back. We have
Yeah.
a hard time giving ourselves compliments. Not everybody, I'm not speaking for you all, but sometimes I know
Yeah,
myself,
most
I have
people,
a
you're
hard
right.
time taking compliments. And sometimes I'm good at that. I'm not being braggadocious or anything, but I'm good at that. And we need to give ourselves some highlights sometime, you know? So
And
yeah.
there's nothing
And-
wrong
and
Nothing
this
telling
is
somebody thank you.
Yep.
and this is where the self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Self-esteem is a value of a person's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of factors that come into play, especially in helping a person feel more confident about himself, which is also a primary factor in establishing a person's outlook towards personal inspiration and feeling as a success.
Mm. I like that. So true. And just coming to this group, I'm telling you, I don't know what it's done for you all, but I know for me, I look forward to what somebody's going to say when we meet. If it's 4 of us, 6 of us, 10 of us, it does not matter. 3 of us, I always, and I don't like to say, I don't like this few words I don't like to use all the time. I don't like to use always and never because I don't like, but I always get something out of these meetings every single time. Every single
I
time.
do too.
It's a blessing.
Ab-
It really is.
Well, and I think that's something that we have to stand on in this Be the Spark movement, right? Is that we all have our struggles, we all have our stories, and we all have it's that connection that we're more alike than different. And we
Mhm.
all go through things, and our healing journeys are gonna look different. They're gonna look all over the place to somebody, and other people's are gonna be in a straight path. But if we can find our tribe to help us, to lift us, to support us, and offer us those little bits of wisdom, it can
Yeah.
shorten somebody else's path to healing.
No doubt about it. And we're
Sure.
all on journeys, regardless how
Yes.
different they are. We're all on this road called a journey. So that right there relates us. Just that. We're all on journeys, regardless of where you're going and how you're going. We're all
Right.
on journeys. So we're related in that way. That's a human aspect. That's our humankind, is we're
All
all
on a
on
journey.
journeys, trying to figure it out.
And we need other people's wisdom.
Mhm. Oh,
And that's
most-
what we're here for. That's one of the reasons we're in a community, is to be like, hey, oh, I've already been through that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I wouldn't take this little shortcut right here because that's really not going to
Right.
give you a shortcut.
Yep.
So I would stick to this path, or, and we all have to make our own decisions. But if we can give our wisdom to somebody else,
Mhm. Yeah.
then we all get these little nuggets that just create this beautiful vision of the world.
Yep. just there's three of us here right now. I don't know what the other guy, but there's three of us right here. Imagine, just think about the people that you've talked to. Just imagine how many lives we've saved. Now, I'm not saying physical lives, maybe, but mentally, we said something to somebody that has changed your life forever. We may never hear about it, but just imagine what
Yeah.
we've done, you know? And we're still
I
doing
wish
it. We're still doing it.
every day.
Yep.
Every day. I wish y'all could be here and listen to some of the stories in this Woman Strong event that I'm at right now. The struggles and the challenges that people have overcome and what they have created from those struggles. I mean, from resiliency programs to allowing women to have a space after coming out of what do you call it, incarceration,
Mm.
to transformational journeys and books and I mean the food. I mean the talent and the resilience that is above me right now is phenomenal.
Jeffrey,
Mhm.
and Carrie, I want to go back to what you were saying, when you helped me to correct myself, right?
Mhm.
And I had to go back into my notes of just how the statement remind me of the light that it's within me, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and it says to address our core negative beliefs and core wounds that takes us out of self-centering and grounding, we must look to the frustration and irritation we feel in everyday life. By listening to the inner diagnosis we have that is negative about ourselves.
Mm.
Negative about about others, negative about our conditions.
Mhm.
Many people's core wound is generated in their earliest memories during childhood. That's what we were just speaking about.
Talk about it. Yep.
And you know, not knowing then that everything is within.
Yeah.
This is why a figure of speech, um, the person who had really got me to finding myself, to really
Mhm.
want to find out who I am
Mhm.
and what is my purpose, because not knowing is a boomer, you know.
Yeah.
And other people seeing your potential, but you don't see.
Right.
Yes.
So this was an awesome, uh awesome topic that I can really relate to. You know, when we first had and this is not our first time talking about self-acceptance,
Right.
but I wasn't as knowledgeable about myself
Mm.
as I am now.
Mm.
Um,
Right.
so
Right.
and all the discovery came from doing the inner work.
Mm-hmm.
The inner work, not looking outside of myself for healing, not looking outside of myself for why that can't be me and why is that you know, going through the process of really wanting to know who the hell am I?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is my purpose,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and what kind of gift can I give to someone who's coming along that
Mm-hmm.
maybe
Yeah.
the road that I've took, my story, which is now history,
Mm-hmm.
can help them to keep from getting there
Yeah.
or having to go that road,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And I heard Karen, oh my God, I love talking to y'all. I heard this guy say this and I was like, man, I never thought about it like this. He said sometimes, and he said, well, he said oftentimes the difficulty is what makes this life worth living. It's not the
Mm.
easy path, it's the difficulty, because when you come
Mhm.
out of that difficulty, you're a new creature. And you just and you evolve from that. You don't evolve from something being smooth and simple. You just don't. It's nice and it feels good, but that's not what life is about. Life is about peaks and valleys. And sometimes our growth comes through those difficulties. So when you or Carrie or whoever's on here, but especially you two, I know when y'all go into a room, y'all command attention. I know you do. You don't have to tell me. I know you do because I speak to you. I'm like, I can feel it. I can feel
Yeah.
it. So God don't want, or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to get on anybody's religious stuff, but God or Allah, whatever you want to call it, doesn't want you to shut up. God wants you to keep on
But
speaking because
but
somebody needs
you
to
know
hear
what?
what you're
The
saying.
devil do. The
Right.
devil do. That's why we have to defeat him every day.
Yeah.
That's why we have to
Mhm.
really stay grounded and in an alignment with ourselves.
Yeah. You really do.
Because do you think the people that was or had me believing that everything they said I was for some time, want to see me with a voice helping
Mhm.
somebody else?
Absolutely not.
Here's a question. How come it's easier for us to accept negative things?
It
Right.
is.
How come?
It
It's
is.
easier
Yeah.
for us to, because of the vibrational level that we are in at that
At that
time.
time. So true.
Mhm.
So true. But
Be-
there was a I
Because
don't know
of
if
the things
oh,
that we was told so much we began to believe. So
believe
it's
it.
easy to stay there
Yeah.
because your confidence is low. And
Mhm.
sometimes we battle with ourselves
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we know better.
Yeah.
But being that there is no encouragement of light and hope, we stay in the dark room.
Mhm.
We don't want the picture to be printed because we done accepted this label.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
There was a and maybe if I mention this, just cut me off. But I went to a group. They invited me to this poetry group with people coming out of incarceration, and they did this I don't know what you call it. But anyway, they had this assignment for us, and we were supposed to write 3 negative things about ourselves. Maybe I already said this. And so they passed, there's like 30 of us in there. They passed it around, and everybody finished it real fast, turned it in, but you couldn't put your name on it. The things that people said about themselves was amazing. It was like we're in a room of darkness. I'm like, man, we all said this about ourselves. It was so easy. But when they ask us to say something positive, we're stuttering like it took us forever to say something positive, but it was so easy for all of us in that room to say such negative, I mean, just really negative stuff, not coming from somebody else, but coming from ourselves. So I agree with you, Karen. When you're given that map, if you just stay on that map, you'll never go anywhere. That map doesn't go anywhere. It's telling you you can only go this far and you stop. And
Right. It's like a
you have to find a
circle.
way out of that, or you will stay in that negative, low vibrational tone that you were talking about.
Absolutely. And when we accept that we have the power within us
Mm-hmm.
to make that change, and we don't have to look outside ourselves for that,
Yep.
that's a
Oh,
big change.
And you
it's
know,
frightening to some people.
I found that
It
when
is.
I became at my strongest with self-acceptance, when I stopped allowing my energy to be tainted.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I had to reframe from sharing myself
Mm.
because energy exchange is I'm feeling what you feeling and you feeling what I'm feeling temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
But when you leave me, you're leaving me with your energy because you done received all of mine. And all I
Mm-hmm.
can do is sit still, stuck in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So after reframing and sending that energy up to my pineal gland, it allowed me to be more powerful and walking in a way that I want to be known. I want to be seen, representing who I really am. and what character I need you to label me as now, not who I was before because of what you told me I was, you know?
Yeah.
Even better, don't accept any labels.
Right.
There's no reason any of us have any labels because those labels put us in a box.
Yeah.
And nobody deserves to be in a box. I don't care what label you give people.
And that's the same thing. Like, I listened to a friend of mine who had made a video on TikTok speaking about labels. The wife, the mother, the child, the children, the grandmother, the labels, right? And I got a lot out of that, right? I got it's just the soul tribe connection,
Mhm. Yep.
has really helped enhance my elevation. I can only speak for myself, but I'm sure from the very first group that I've attended, it's seen. Even with the choicing of words, I've noticed.
Mhm. Yes.
And I know that if there's 50 people in the room, as long as one can get the service of help that they need or hear something that will save their life, I know a lot has been said.
Right. Well, and I think that's why it's so powerful to share our stories, right?
It is.
Because we've all been in that place that we're like, I got nothing left. I've got absolutely nothing left. And I don't know which direction to go. So I'm just gonna sit here. I'm just gonna sit and stew and let our brains spiral into whatever it is that we're in, whatever trauma it is. And the unworthiness and the lack of direction and guidance.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
remember one of the most painful things my stepfather ever said to me that bothered me. I always, and I used to tell my friends this, I'd rather him whoop me. Well, from him, it was beatings. It wasn't even spanking. It was beat. But I'd rather him beat me than talk to me. But I remember on Sundays we would go on a ride. It's just a tip. That was just our family thing. Me, I had a younger brother and sister, 2 years younger than me. My mom, my stepfather, I thought he was my dad for the first 24 years of my life. But anyway, we'd go on rides on Sundays, and then he'd stop by, and he was a closet alcoholic. So he'd stop by and get his 6-pack that he was going to drink that night, and I'll give us all a piece of candy. Well, he got angry at me for something. He'd always get angry at me for something, but I forgot what it was in particular. And I was about 9 or 10. So I was about in 4th or 5th grade or something like that. My brother and sister sitting in the back, and he goes to give me this candy. He snatches it back. He said, "No, I'm not gonna give you this candy tonight." He gives my brother and sister the candy, and he looks from the front seat to the back seat. He looks at my brother and sister. He doesn't look at me. He says, "Don't ever be like Jeff, because Jeff's not gonna go anywhere." And that bothered me much more than him beating me. And that stayed with me it really bothered me that he would
yeah,
say that, because I looked up, he was like a god to me. So
right.
everything he said, was patched in gold as far as so when he said that, when I say years, it took me years to get that. He did a lot of terrible things. Those words stuck with me a long time. And then I end up in a homeless shelter in New York, and this old man who doesn't know me tells me the exact opposite. You're too smart to be here. Why? You need to do something, so yeah. But anyway, I wanted to share that story.
And well, those negative things really it's like a thorn
Yeah.
that gets stuck in your heart.
Yeah. I call it bubble gum, because it sticks, and
Yeah.
it's hard to get that bubble gum out once it's in there. It's
Yeah.
very difficult. Sometimes people never get it out, you know.
But it can change the direction of somebody's life
Mm-hmm.
to be in such a negative space.
Yeah.
And that can be the one thing that pushes them over the edge.
Yeah. Start doing some negative stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, there's John.
Oh, okay.
I agree. It's words are very powerful.
Oh man. Phew.
And it seems like those negative ones stick. Like you can tell somebody 487 times, right, that you love them. and you
Mhm.
do one thing that shows them that you were probably thinking about yourself as opposed to
Mm.
not loving them. And
Mhm.
then all that history is
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the
Um,
biggest lie I ever told was, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's one of the biggest lies. Words can kill you. Not only hurt you, they lead you to a very self-destructive life if you're not careful. So words are super powerful.
what else I have to go with self-acceptance is self-actualization.
Mm.
Yeah.
Self-actualization and becoming an authentic human being, knowing the higher identity and divine purpose for unique expression
Mm.
is the goal of spiritual ascension.
Yeah.
Awakening to embody our soul and spirit is the ultimate achievement, self-realization, and to complete personal autumn governed by our higher self
Mm.
is what we was just talking about, Jeffrey.
Mhm.
It has always been within us.
Mhm.
Nothing is outside of yourself.
Right.
Is my belief.
Mhm.
Nothing is
I
outside
agree. Mhm.
the. And I don't want to get into religion or anything like that, but I believe the voices that people say are bad, and they stopped telling me it was bad when I started questioning them, asking them whether they can explain to me when I was having a mental breakdown or a spiritual awakening. They stopped telling me it was bad to hear them voices, right?
Mm. Mhm.
Because our higher self talks to us.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That one on that shoulder that's negative, and that one on that shoulder that's positive
Mhm.
talks to us. Huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's depending on which one you're listening to,
Right.
is the outcome of any situation. Now, every time I listen to that one that told me I was not worth anything and I would never be anything, I amounted to nothing.
Mm.
But then when I started questioning that one that was talking to me and started paying more attention to this side that was telling me, you got it in you.
Yeah.
You can do it. Do it. Do it. Because everybody said you can't. So now you got to show them you can do it.
Right.
Right.
That's the one I listen to.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I go up there and move the furniture voluntarily, because I got too many things going on inside of my brain at one time, instead of learning how, and I've learned how to relax and prioritize things,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
the more creative voice has been speaking louder than any other voice.
Mm. So true. It's a great point. I don't even have a
Well,
comeback for that one. That was a pun.
and
I usually got something to say. I don't even have a comeback. That's so true.
John, you just jump in at any point if you want to talk. But what came to my thought is that self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
What we tell ourselves, we become. The words we speak, we manifest. And if we're speaking into that negative space,
Yeah.
then we just keep bringing ourselves down.
Yeah.
And when we finally find that acceptance within ourselves and then realize all that we can do and the light within us,
Mm-hmm.
then we can manifest that too.
Yeah.
It's up to us.
It really
It's
is.
choice.
It really is.
Everything's a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I complained about having torn up shoes until I met a man that didn't have any shoes. So there's always somebody that would love to be in the position that you're in.
Absolutely.
There always is somebody like, man, I would love to just have some torn up shoes that fit me. There's some kids that I remember seeing this video with kids. They'd pass down the shoes to their younger brother or sister, and he had to put paper or something in the shoe to make it fit, because that was the shoes they would have to use for going to school or going to wherever they. So yeah, we just have to be thankful for what we have and elevate it, bring it out. Because it's great.
and
It wasn't meant
what
to be mediocre, you know.
Right.
what came along with self-acceptance for me was self-determination,
Mm-hmm.
which was self-determination is the process by which a person may have freedom to control their own life, body, mind, and spirit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It all kind of goes hand in hand, right? Like, what I'm saying here too is that everything that we talked about in the previous ones kind of manifests into this right here.
Yeah.
Even going into the gratitude.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have the gratitude of like, my feet hit the floor this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I have water to drink. I have a toothbrush.
Yeah.
You know, starting with that place and then building ourselves up.
Mm-hmm.
What can I create to increase my gratitude, right?
Yeah. And you can create. That's a blessing. You know, you
Mhm.
can create. Just being able to create. Oh my gosh. It's yeah. So we have all this stuff to be grateful for. We really do.
And
Even in the most dire circumstances, there's still that capability of creating.
And with self-acceptance, it falls under a lot of areas, especially well, another one I can name is self-discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Self-discipline, the ability to control one's feelings and
Yeah.
overcome one's weakness, the ability to pursue what one thinks is right despite temptation to abandon.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
When
I think we're gonna go over these other ones. Yeah. Go ahead, Karen. I'm sorry.
because it was many different, it was like 10 different things that I had to really look into when before I was able to say, yes, I have self-acceptance.
Mm.
Yes, I have self-acceptance. And can't nobody tell me I don't, because I've been tapping into the work of my self-acceptance, because
Mhm.
part of my self-acceptance is self-leadership.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be able to make profound and the right decisions for myself, where I don't be in a loop of infinity, a loop of the same problems but a different year,
Mm.
know,
Right.
or
Mm-hmm.
my timeline changing. What is different this year for me, mentally, physically, spiritually, that was not implicated in my life last year?
Mm.
And or if it was a similar situation, it was a different result because I was able to process it and
Yeah.
deal with it and move on from it, not stay stuck in it. And for
So,
many years, from what I was told that I believed in, I battled with off and on. One minute I don't believe what they told me, but then as soon as something don't go as accurate as I think it should go, I
right.
feel I failed myself, where that is the ego telling me that I'm not good enough or that I should have did it better. You know, it was just a lot of areas of self-acceptance that before I can say, yeah, I'm 100% sure I have self-acceptance, I really had to go and dissect. I
Mm-hmm.
had to really do some inner homework,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, to be able to effectively say, I have self-acceptance today. I
Mm.
have self-love. I have self-care.
Yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
not regretting anything because I first love myself.
Yep.
So it would be okay for me to say, I can accept you because I accept me first.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think this is a good time too to remind people how powerful journaling is. Because
Oh,
if you can go back and read
Phew.
a year ago where you were,
Oh, boy.
and then you see where you are today, you're like, oh, I don't even remember that
I don't,
person.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, that happens quite a
Yeah.
bit. I tell
Yeah.
people that all the time, you should journal. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm telling that journaling will really open your eyes to yourself. You don't have to share it to
Right.
anybody. You just go back and
That's
say,
what
man,
it's
I
about.
was thinking like that 6 years ago. I was like that 10 years ago. I was that 20 years. Yeah, journaling is powerful. There's a guy, he was in prison, right? And he would write stuff down. And he'd run out of paper. And so he started writing on the walls, but he had to get it out. He had to get it out.
Oh, yeah.
And he was saying that one of the guards, like that's supposed to be, you're supposed to get reprimanded for that. But one of the guards wouldn't say anything about it and just continued to let him journal. Basically a poetry, but it kept him in the right frame of mind, to have to deal with what he was dealing with,
Absolutely.
write stuff down. So journaling is, oh man, I don't even have words for
Oh,
how
yeah.
important
When I
that
go
is.
back,
Yeah.
it is just so powerful. When I
Yeah.
go back and look at mine, I can tell by the color of the ink,
Mm.
the way my handwriting is,
Mm-hmm.
like all these ways that it's more than words.
Yeah.
And
That's
I have memories that pops up
Mhm.
every day in my phone. A different memory come up. But I take a lot of pictures, right?
Mhm.
Because I like to look back
Mm.
on things, right? And so a lot of my pictures come up when I first started my journey to looking to find myself.
Mm.
And a lot of them was in California on the
Mm.
beach.
Mm.
The years that of course, in San Diego Community College, and then when the pictures came up, the elevation of my life at UCLA,
Mm.
it was like, boy, I had to come back to go through the journey, to the crime scene where everything negative happened for me,
Mm.
with a new mindset and a new attitude and a
Mhm.
new way to get through anxiety of being there. So
Mhm.
this is what I'm experiencing right now.
Yeah.
Some days has been much easier than others,
Mhm.
but on the challenging days, learning myself, I have tools on. I know what to do, so it won't be a challenge.
Mhm.
Sit still and feed myself with information that continues to help my growth,
Mhm.
Right.
and not be in harm's way. I don't have to be in the area, but just being in the city itself of the crime scene has been a healing journey in itself,
Mhm.
because my
Yeah.
mindset is totally different.
Yeah.
But one thing I would say to anybody, if you're going someplace to visit, don't let it be New York City. you know don't waste your money. Don't waste your money to come here, because I'm getting ready to get out, and I suggest that you don't even come in, on the humorous note of what the city is like right now, but I've been good to myself, so of course the universe has been good to me, and seeing that I'm really utilizing information. I'm not just storing it. I'm not just filing it. I'm dialing in on it. I'm
Mhm.
utilizing it,
Yep.
and it's making me stronger. I'm gonna
Yep.
say that much, because
It's everyday work.
yes, because
Everyday work.
still able to smile
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
know that there's
Exactly.
hope,
Yeah.
and my purpose of doing just what I'm doing
Mhm.
and taking in what I'm taking in for a better day for somebody
Yeah.
other than myself,
Yeah.
and it really feels good, eventually I'm gonna sit down and it's gonna all be in a book,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's a story of history
Yes.
Mhm.
of how life in poverty,
Mhm.
moving through poverty to a position where someone else don't have to be in poverty
Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
because I'll be a blessing to someone. And
Yeah.
this is where my life is going right now,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
when
only one way but
Mhm.
up, you know, because
Yep.
there's only two things promised to us in this life. And what we do in this life determines how long we have to be in it,
Mhm.
you know, and
Mhm.
what when it's time to step through that next portal, what will be ceased and left behind for those that's coming behind me,
Mhm.
you
Right.
know, and
Mhm.
that's the purpose I'm walking in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you said about dialing in because I like to read, right? But if I don't incorporate what I read, what am I doing? I'm just wasting.
Just
So I
fall
like what you
behind.
have to dial. Yeah, you just, just to say that you know something, that's not what it is. You have to dial in, like you said. I love that. You have to dial in and use it. It has to be of some use to you and to your community, or it's of no use at all. So yeah, you have to dial in. You can't just have this knowledge or have these experiences. You have to dial into them, learn from them, and then put it out there and help somebody else. I like that, dialing in. I got to use that.
Yeah.
Dial in.
Well, what a beautiful conversation.
Yeah,
As always.
always. Yep, always powerful.
Always. I don't remember what's coming up in October, but I will put it out there for all of us. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. What is coming up in October? Let's see. It is, self-discipline, October 19th.
Oh, and we talked about that
So
today.
we'll
Yeah.
continue the conversation. Yeah,
Yeah,
Self-discipline.
we'll get deeper into it.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
Just-
definitely.
Yeah,
I'm sorry the other
self-discipline.
guy didn't chime in, but I guess he's listening. I see his picture. I don't know him though. I don't think I've met him,
Yeah.
but hopefully he got something out of it.
So John, Jimmy invited John to
Okay.
be a part of this. John's been on our call maybe once or twice before. And he is
Okay.
also going to be a part of our fear book, right, John?
Oh, good. Okay.
He may be doing other things. He's a busy artist. So
Okay.
he's songwriter and all that. So we're glad to have him here,
Yeah.
like always.
Beautiful.
Well, I do need to
All right.
run because I'm gonna get back to my event.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
thank you all. It was beautiful,
Thank
like
you,
always.
guys.
All right.
Thank you
I
guys for your
so
words. They
appreciate
always help. Yeah. Yeah.
See
And
y'all
Absolutely.
next
motivation to get
month.
to the next month. Sure.
Okay. Mwah.
All
Love you
right.
guys.
All right. Take care, everybody. All right. Talk to you
too.
soon. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.